Man United for probably the a billionth time in the last 5 years. It's a mess right now. They have a lot of rubbish players to at the club. They've got, questions over their manager. Just nothing's really going well for United right now. And there are reports that apparently most of the players are actually available for transfer in the summer, which doesn't really surprise me, to be honest. But of course, there are new owners in this summer, and I think this summer is going to be, or it really should be, a reset, a bit of a rebuild period for Man United. And I'm expecting, quite a big clear out. So, for that reason, I thought, why don't I do a stay or go tier list where I decide if I was in charge who I would be keeping around and getting rid of. Now, I should caveat this with, I'm just gonna assume that with a manager situation, Ten Hag, I'm just gonna void the manager pretty much. Just pretend the manager does not exist, because it'll get a bit complicated then. I'm just gonna pretend I'm director of football and I don't care who the manager is when I make these decisions. But the days we have build around, so these are the sort of key players who I would be trying to build the team around and be regular starters for this side. Keep loan, contract expiry, so for players who contract are expiring this summer, and I would let go. Sell if right is for those who I'm maybe not actively trying to sell, but if we get a decent offer for, I would sell. Or maybe if we manage to sign somebody in that position, then I would get rid of him. And then straight up sell, no conditions, just get rid of him. So yeah, let me know which ones you agree or disagree with in the comments below. I've got most of the squad. I believe this is everybody. If there is anyone I've missed out, please tell me. But yeah, let's begin. So, we start with Anthony. What a way to start, Anthony. I think everyone kind of knows where this one's going. It's gotta be sell. It's got to be sell. I know United have spent a lot of money on him, a lot. And if it were to sell him, they would take a big hit because no one is paying anywhere near what they paid for him. But at the end of the day, you've got to be ruthless. Anthony has been here for 2 seasons now, and in those 2 seasons, he's probably had about 5 good games, 5 good moments. Doesn't have any output in terms of goals or assists. Doesn't contribute anything in terms of creating chances, dribbling, or anything. If anything, he's a bit of a liability and holds up the ball too much. Yeah. And the thing is, he worked with Eric Ten Hag before. Eric Ten Hag brought him in. He was Ten Hag's guy. So if Ten Hag can't get the best out of him, then I'm not entirely sure what new manager is going to come in and get anything out of him. So yeah, for me, Anthony, he's got to go. Just take the hit. Just take the hit. As I said, this is a new era. Just say, you know what, we're new owners. That was nothing to do with us. We didn't buy him. Let's just get rid of him. You probably won't be able to get that much for him. Probably 20 mil max, I think now. That's how bad he's been. But yeah, if you just try and get rid of him if you can. Alejandro Garnacho. Garnacho, for me, I would be building around. I'd be building around Garnacho. I've really been impressed by Garnacho this season. I had my doubts about Garnacho starting at the season. At the start of the season, sorry, because from what I seen, I thought, okay, you know what, he's shown decent moments, but I don't necessarily think this guy is going to become a world-class winger. But he's quickly proved me wrong this season because he has really stepped up for United and been a real bright spark. One of the only attackers in that team who has actually performed this season, and he's still very young. So I'll be trying to build around him. I think United do have a couple decent youngsters, and that's really what I would be trying to do. Trying to use them as that core. Garnacho maybe doesn't have to be relied on as much. I'll be trying to get in another winger so that Garnacho can be rotated because he is still young. But that being said, Garnacho for me is a fantastic similarly, he's very young. He's had a mixed first season. I think he's shown good signs and bad signs. I'm not entirely sure if I should put him in build around or just keep, because the thing is, with Højlund, of course, he's going to be the long-term striker, and you need to be trying to build around him in the future. However, right now, I would actually be trying to get in another striker to rotate with him, because I think Højlund is a bit raw right now, so I'm not entirely sure if he should be starting every single game. But I think, to be fair, I think I'll keep him in build around. I will, because as I said, he's part of that sort of young core of Man United, which looks promising. Definitely need to get in another striker so that you're not relying on him, because we've seen this season you can't rely on him just yet. He's very young. To become a 20 goal a season striker, he will probably become that, but he's not that right now. So yeah, build around him, but still get somebody in. Oh, okay, Marcus Rashford. This is where it gets interesting. So obviously Rashford has had a really bad year this season. Really, really bad season. Been at the club for a while. But look, and he's had really good moments last season. He was terrific. That was his best season yet. He's a very up and down guy, very confident player. Obviously has a lot of talent. But for me, if I'm in charge, I would be trying to sell Rashford. Because the way I see it is that Rashford, I think, is kind of got a bit stale now at Man United. He's been at United for a while now. I think the fans are sort of fed up with him. I think he himself is kind of fed up with the whole United thing. I think a change of environment, change of club for Rashford and for Man United is just best. I think he will do actually very well if he leaves Man United. I think it would be good for his career. And I think with United, I just think that, he's been around for a while. There is sort of a bit of toxicity around Rashford, at least in the Man United fan base, and I think you don't really want that anymore. He's one of your sellable assets as well. You can get a decent amount of money for him, probably about 50 to 60 million, depending on who you sell him to. So yeah, for me, I would be getting rid of Rashford. Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon Sancho is an interesting one because he is, of course, on loan at Dortmund and doing fantastic. He's in a Champions League final right now, which is superb. But while his performances have been great, similarly to Rashford, I just think that there's a lot of toxicity around him, and I think the environment at Man United with Jadon Sancho, I don't think it's the right environment. So I would be selling Jadon Sancho in the summer, selling back to Dortmund or somewhere else. I actually think now is the perfect time because he's had a good spell at Dortmund. A lot of clubs will now be interested in him. You could get a decent fee for him now, probably about 40 million, which is not bad. And, he might do fantastic elsewhere. But as I said, the same thing with Rashford. The environment, I think Sancho in United, if he was to come back, it might, and if he didn't perform for a couple games, I think the fans would get on him. Things would get a little toxic. I'm not entirely sure if, considering what happened, if some of the players would be liking him. So for me, I think it's best for both parties just to sell him in the summer. Anthony Martial, contract expiry. His contract is expiring in 2024 and there's no chance of him extending that. But United for way too long now, needs to go. Always injured, great talent. I would love to see him go to a mid-table top half Prem side and try and get fit for it and start for an entire season. But yeah, there's no way he should be sticking around at United. Amari Forson, don't really know too much about him. I'll give him a loan. Kobe Mainu, definitely build around. Again, part of that young core at Man United. I think he's actually probably the best sort of young gem at United. While maybe Garnacho has proven himself a bit more, I think Kobe Mainoo's younger and has more talent and ability and a higher ceiling than anybody at Man United. I'm so impressed with him. I think he's going to be a top player. But again, you need to be signing players so that you're not relying on him every single game. Otherwise, you might get like a Rashford situation where things sort of fizzle out. And yeah, you need to partner him with the right person. So build around him, play him, but do not drive him into the ground. Scott McTominay. Now look, McTominay is a useful player. He is, but you need to be ruthless. You need to sell him. As I said, McTominay definitely has his uses and can be a good squad player, but he's been at United for a while now, and the way I see it is he should not be starting for Man United ever, really, if United are meant to be where they should be. And I think, similar to Rashford, he is one of your more sellable assets. I think a lot of clubs would love to sign McTominay. I think you could probably get like 30 to 45 million for McTominay, which is really solid money. And yeah, I would try to sell him in the summer. Even though he's a useful player, can pop up with some goals here and there, I just think ability-wise he's not good enough for United. Most people have known this for a while now, and I would just get rid of him. Daniel Gore, send him out on loan, sure. Hannibal's out at Sevilla. I'm pretty sure there's like an option to buy there, but I don't think he's had a great loan, to be honest. But we'll probably give him one more loan to try and drive up his value before selling him. But I don't really think he has a United future, in my opinion. Donny van de Beek has to be sold on loan out. Was it Frankfurt? Yeah, Van de Beek, what a poor signing. Poor signing. Just never worked at United. And similar thing to Anthony. If Eric Ten Hag cannot get the best out of Van de Beek, then no manager's going to do it. So you just sell him, stop with the loans, cut your losses. You'll sell him for a very cheap fee, probably only like 10 mil. But just get rid of him, get him off the wage bill. Facundo Balestri. I'm not entirely sure how good he's done on his loan, but I actually really do like Facundo Balestri, and I think he wouldn't be a too bad squad player, but yeah, I don't know entirely about how well he's done on loan, so I just put him in keep. I think he can be a decent squad player. Casemiro. Casemiro's got to be sold. Look, this season has been really bad for Casemiro. The decline on Casemiro has been so bad, so quick, because last season he was actually one of United's best players. He actually looked like a really good signing, but this season, oh my word, he looks so slow. Looks like he's lost a yard, and especially when he's playing at centre back. I know it's not his role, but wow, he has been abysmal, absolutely abysmal. But even when he's played in midfield, just so poor. He's old, high wages. Just try and sell him at all costs if you can. I think Saudi Arabia is probably the only move available. I'm not entirely sure many teams want him. You just got to try and find somebody to get rid of him, even if it's on like a free transfer to somewhere. Just get rid of him because he's on high wages and he's not good enough. Right, Amad Diallo, definitely keeping, and I will definitely be trying to get him more game time. From what I've seen in the last few games, he has been so good, so promising. He looks so good. I'm not sure why on earth he has not been given minutes this season. But yeah, he looks like a really talented player. I wouldn't be starting him, but he can definitely play a role in the squad next season out on the wings. Sofian Amrabat is of course on loan and definitely a contract expiry. Definitely not extend him at loan. What an awful loan that was. I actually thought this was going to be a good signing because he was so good at the World Cup, but there's like it was just for that one tournament because wow, he's lost all his his ability as a footballer at Man United, as many have though. Mason Mount, I mean, definitely keeping him, definitely not building around him though. You know, he's only just signed and he's been injured for a lot of his season, so obviously not going to sell him, give him a year, but I'm not entirely convinced by Mount as a signing for United, but we'll see what he does next season, and I'm not entirely sure where he's going to play, but yeah, we'll see. Definitely keep him though. Bruno Fernandes, build around for sure. Bruno is by far and away United's best player, most important player, their main man, and he needs to continue to be that. They should be playing him week in, week out. He is one of the only proven guys at United, one of the only players who, if you wanted to, could leave for a bigger club in my opinion. Because Bruno is fantastic, and we've seen when he's not been in the team the last few games, oh my word, United looks so bad. So bad in terms of on the ball and scoring, creating chances. They can't do it. He's the main man and they need to be keeping him at all costs. Christian Eriksen, sell him. Christian Eriksen, sell him. Yeah, old, and past his best now last season. Did a job, not bad on a free transfer, but yeah, get rid of him now. I think he's past it now. And yeah, decent wages as well, so get rid of him. Willy Kambwala, I would be keeping. I think he's shown decent moments actually. He's had a few minutes this season at centre back. He's had a couple bad moments as well, but he's very young, inexperienced centre back. But I think from what I've seen, you know, he can play a role in the squad and get some minutes here and there next season. Right, Mason Greenwood. Yeah, look, whatever you think about Greenwood as a player, he's probably good enough as a player to be in the squad. At the end of the day, they should not be keeping him around for obvious reasons. And I think now is probably a good time to sell him as well, because he's had a pretty good loan at the Tafe. There'll be clubs interested in him. You could probably get about 20-25 million as well for him, which is not bad return. But yeah, Greenwood should not be playing. And if Ineos, you know, want this new era and stuff, they cannot be keeping him around, because that is just so much toxicity and bad PR and everything. You can't be keeping him around, so get rid of him. Alvaro Fernandez, I have no idea how this guy has done. Just send him alone. Johnny Evans, so his contract is expiring. You know what? I'm tempted. Just because I have like nobody in keep, I wouldn't be opposed if they gave him like another year extension, just as a squad player, an experienced player, because he's actually not been that bad. Obviously he has his flaws, but I would actually give him a contract extension for a year. I just think that he's been okay. He's definitely not been one of their worst players this season. He should not be playing as much as he has done, but I think as a squad player, like to play a few games here and there, experienced guy, good for the dressing room at centre back. I don't think it's the worst idea to extend him for a year. Brandon Williams has done really well at Ipswich, helping them get promoted. Now I'm sure Ipswich will be wanting to keep him and try and sign him. But has he done well enough to go to the Man United first team? I think they already have a decent amount of left backs. United, right back as well. They've got a few. I think that given what he's done at Ipswich, I think a few clubs would be interested in him. So for that reason, I think I would sell if you get a decent offer for Brandon Williams, you definitely take it. If you get like 20 mil for Brandon Williams, take that. Definitely take that. If you get like 15 starter for Man United. Diego Dalot. Now, Dalot's actually been one of United's better players this season, but I'm not entirely convinced by him. I think he definitely has his flaws. However, he is a very useful player, as he can play right back and left back, can play inverted or overlap. So for that reason, I should be keeping him around. I would be potentially looking into getting another fullback, but Dalot is more than good enough and more than capable of being at least in the squad for next season. Luke Shaw now. Luke Shaw just plagued with injuries, especially this season, cannot stay fit. And for that reason, I would be tempted, like, if I got an offer to maybe get rid of him, but I would keep him. I'd give him one more year. I'd say, look, give him one more year. If he cannot get fit and stay fit for this year, then cut your losses, get rid of him next season. But we all know, actually, when Shaw is fit and firing, he is one of the better left backs in the league. So I'll be trying to keep him and trying to keep him fit. But I would be maybe looking into getting another left back. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now this is an interesting one, because Wan-Bissaka, he has played right back and left back actually this season. He's always been a decent player for United, but never outstanding. I think you sell it right. I think you sell Wan-Bissaka if you get a decent offer for Wan-Bissaka, you definitely sell him. Or if you sign another fullback, he would be the first fullback to leave, in my opinion, because I think he is very limited as a footballer. As a 1v1 defender, he's fantastic, but going forward, he's poor. On the ball, not the best. He does get caught out defensively as well sometimes, like not tracking runners and stuff. But overall, he's a decent squad player. However, if you got an offer of, let's say, about 25 mil, you take that. Or if you sign another fullback, then you get rid of Wan-Bissaka. Victor Lindelof. I think actually, oh god, I was gonna say sell if right, and I think I will keep him at sell if right. I think that Lindelof is a not bad player. I think he's decent. Been injured a while this season, but he's very useful. Can play all across the back four. He's not a bad centre back, and he's a decent squad player. But the reason I say sell if right is I think if you get a good offer for him, like similar to Wan-Bissaka, about 25 mil, definitely get rid of Lindelof for that money, because he's a good squad player, but he's not really a starter for Man United. But I'm more than happy of keeping him in the squad. But if we also got another centre back, if United sign another centre back, then I would get rid of him. Shola Shorita, I don't know too much about him, so I'll send him on loan. Harry Maguire. This is an interesting one, because if you asked me this a year ago, obviously straight into sell, right? But he's actually been pretty good this season. Like, he's been very solid, very solid, and has been very useful. But that being said, I would still sell Harry Maguire. I think that now is a perfect time to sell Maguire, because he has had a pretty good season, as I said. So I think a lot of clubs would take him. I think you get pretty good money for him now, like 30 to 40 mil. I think 30 mil probably you could get for Maguire from a Premier League club. I think that's good money. I think that while he's a good player, I don't think he should be starting for United. I think United should be trying to get some more centre backs anyway, so to replace him. So for that reason, I think sell Maguire. Now's the best time to sell him. It might seem a bit harsh, considering he's had a good year, but at the end of the day, you got to be ruthless, and we all know that Maguire's not good enough to be playing for Man United, and can raise a decent amount of money, which we're going to need. Lisandro Martinez would be a keep. season, which is really disappointing, but we all know when fit, he is United's best centre-back, and yeah, a very, very good player. Tyrell Malacia, yeah, keep when he's played, I mean, he's looked okay, but again, just been injured the entire year this season, and yeah, that has really stunted his progress, but I mean, because Malacia and Shaw are so injury prone, I will probably look into signing another maybe left back, but yeah, Malacia for now is staying. Andre Onana is a keep as well. I mean, even though he's had his dodgy moments this year, there's no need to replace him just yet. Yeah, keep him. Only bought him for last season. Tommy, his contract is expiring. I mean, keep him, sure. And outside Bindeer. Yeah, sure. Backup keeper, keep. Right then. So, this is the tier list. So, I'm going to be keeping then Bruno Fernandes, Kobe Mainoo, Rasmus Højlund, and Garnacho. These are going to be my starters and key players. Pelestri, Diallo, Mount, Kamwala, Evans, Dalot, Shaw, Martinez, Malacia, Onana, and the two keepers will be staying, meaning that I would be getting rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guaranteed to leave, and then 3 players possibly leaving. I think if you were to sell just these guys, I think you could probably get actually a pretty good amount, to be honest. I think Rashford goes for a bit, Sancho goes for a bit, McTominay and Maguire probably go for a decent amount, as does Greenwood. I think selling these guys will give you more than enough to buy players for the starting 11, and then if you wanted to improve the squad, I think you sell these 3 and replace them with some other squad players. But yeah, this was